the Hudson Library and Historical Society's Kabir Bhatia interview series presents award-winning reporter Kabir Bhatia, speaking with the co-founders of Hudson's favorite cupcake source, Main Street Cupcakes, sisters Kimberly Martin and Sarah Forer, with the story behind Main Street Cupcakes. How, through hard work, a smart business plan, and great marketing, they grew their small business into a local and international hit. Recorded at the Hudson Library's Flood Meeting Room on July 22, 2015.
Gotten your cupcake, go ahead and grab one. We thought it would be fun for everyone to have a cupcake before this, so you didn't have to wait. That's the most exciting part. My name's Polly. I'm going to talk really loud because I don't have a microphone, but the speakers will. Just welcome to the Hudson Library. If you're just arriving, feel free to grab a cupcake and have a seat. There's cupcakes in the back. At the end of this, during the question and answer, I will be passing out evaluations. We would really appreciate if you could help us and fill those out. It just lets us know how we're doing so we can bring better programs to the library. Thank you for coming out. I'm really excited about this program. Kabir approached me. This is part of Kabir's ongoing monthly series at the library where he just brings in interesting people from all over the area to talk to them and interview them. And he approached me and said, my neighbors is one of the cupcake people from Main Street. Like, yes, bring them in. I probably have single-handedly kept you guys in business. I swear, when I first moved here, I went there like every week. Like, it was really bad. And then once when my daughter was like 2, like the whole special part about going to the cupcake shop is that they have a nice little display and you pick it out. And then I think you still do it, they put them in a nice box, and then they get out this beautiful ribbon and like wrap it all up. And we took my daughter, and she was 2 and didn't understand. She thought she was getting a cupcake immediately, and they wrapped it up, and she had a huge tantrum. She's older and wiser now, but we'll learn from our mistakes. But do visit the cupcake shop. So the sisters, Kimberly Martin and Sarah Forer, they're sisters, and they run the cupcake shop. And they actually started this cupcake shop before the trend. I mean, before this whole cupcake shop trend. They were like,
Cupcake Wars.
Yes, Cupcake Wars, the Georgetown cupcakes, before it was even a thing. They were on top of it. They started in 2007, and they were one of the first cupcake specialty shops in Northeast Ohio. Last year, they opened up a new location in Chagrin Falls, and they're well known. They have over 350 buttercream style flavors, and they've won awards for their cupcakes, and they've been recognized for their entrepreneurship and social media presence. So please welcome Sarah, Kim, and Kabir.
Also, we have to give a huge shout out to Kimberly's husband, Sean, is right there. He is our original founding baker. He baked the first 250,000 cupcakes we ever made and sold single-handedly with no assistance. And this was before we were even lining the trays for the cupcakes. You know, the little papers, he even had to put those in. It took us 250,000 cupcakes to figure out that we could help him doing that. So he's here and he works third shift, so we appreciate him coming tonight.
Okay, so welcome, ladies.
Thank you
so much. Did you have any trouble finding the library this afternoon, this evening? No? You're, of course, a Hudson resident. You're always in Hudson at the shop. So tell me, 2007, what led up to that, the decision, let's start a cupcake shop?
Well, as I jumped the gun with, like we said, Kimberly and I are sisters, and she and her husband just always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and Kimmy and I had traveled a ton and had visited boutique bakeries, boutique shops, not just bakeries, but like like I always said, like cheese shops in Europe or just little places that we felt Northeast Ohio didn't have. And then she has a very, very talented husband who just sort of kind of hit the ground running with recipe design and grew up with a grandma from the South and had deep South, recipes that we cherish to this day, and sort of just thought, wow, why not cupcakes? And it's always been her answer has been, why not cupcakes?
Exactly. One thing that we did do, we knew that we had to open up a shop. We didn't want to do it from our house. So when we had kind of scoured all over Cleveland, we came across Hudson and we came across the location we're at now, which was a coffee shop. And it had only been closed for a short period of time. And then when we approached the people who owned the building, they were kind of like really apprehensive about our plan. They're like, just cupcakes? We're like, that's it? Coffee? I'm like, just straight coffee. We'll let the coffee houses make the lattes and the cappuccinos. We're just going to do a ton of gourmet flavors. So they actually stood behind it. They're like, okay, we're going to do it. So it was, as a startup company, it was very nice that they were so helpful in helping us with our build outs and so on and so forth. So it's kind of where we're at now.
And how long did the whole process take from the second you thought, hey, that's a good idea, to the first day with the doors open?
Probably about 6 months. I think everything was in the works.
Now that seems to me fast. I've never opened a business, but that's pretty fast, is it not?
It was pretty fast, but I think with our backgrounds, we did a lot for ourselves. We kind of, with my business and accounting background and Sean's food service and hospitality and Sarah's marketing and PR, we kind of like just picked what we did well,
sure.
And it kind of expedited the process.
Okay, so
we were really driven. Everyone was really driven in the process. We still to this day, Kimmy and I always say, we don't do each other's jobs. We certainly don't do Sean's job. We talk 100 times a day, but we don't. We delegate. Right. We all know what our responsibilities are. Exactly.
We enjoy it.
And we just we all took our tasks. We're really task oriented and driven, and we got it done. And we were excited. And like she said, the town was excited. Mm-hmm. They got behind us. It made it fun to get moving on it. Yeah. And it was before the cupcake boom. Totally. Yeah.
And well, talk to me about what a typical day is like. When Sean, if he's third shift, he's getting home and starting to make cupcakes. Is that how it works? And then talk to me about what happens.
Well, Sean starts his day or night about 11 o'clock at night, and he does all the prep. And our goal is to have everything completed, clean up, everything by the time we open the doors.
So case is full.
And then we have our next shift, basically, which is the associates or myself or Sarah, that will come in and start the day. And we're right in the mix of it. We're boxing orders and we're getting everything ready. So at 10 o'clock, when we turn that open sign, we're ready for the first customer.
Everything's pretty much done. So like somebody will say, they might call at 11 and say, hey, I placed an order for a cake. I said I'd be there at 3, but is it done yet? We make it we make it sort of our standard that everything's done at 10 a.m. And a lot of times to get it done, Kim's notorious for this. She runs in the kitchen, she garnishes, she's cleaning up around everything, just like you would at home. I mean, and we really
we don't always look this glamorous.
Oh yes, we're so glamorous tonight. So, and oh gosh, Saturday mornings you should come see us all. It's quite a sight.
I think some of you have.
Yes,
actually.
I know. If you've been there, if you're the first customer of the day, it could be very questionable what we all look like.
Now, I know that right when you open, there's always people who are ready to go. And I think the posted hours are till 5. Have you ever actually made it to 5?
They're 5 or sellout, Kabir.
Well, no, I realize that.
I'm saying,
has sellout ever gone past 5? Really?
Yeah, we have. We've been there.
Sorry, oops.
We've been doing this. We've been doing this now for almost 9 years. It'll be 9 years come February 2nd, and we've learned the trends. We know after Easter you have a jelly bean hangover, so we take a few days off.
Halloween
is the exact same. We know we're getting a few extra days, after Halloween. Certainly though, there'll be a Tuesday. Maybe Tuesdays are the beginning of our work week. So Tuesdays can be busy. We know farm reps are waiting to get in. We know people are ordering for office events and things like that. But a Wednesday we may say, okay, we're gonna do some paperwork, or Kim and I are notorious for, we're going to bring some of our mail from home, see if we can get through some of our mail or something, and think we're going to get like office hours in if we have ourselves on the schedule. But sure enough, a Wednesday we will get hit with kids after school or,
or somebody that may come in and want an on-the-spot consultation
Right,
for an
for a
event.
wedding.
Or a
Perfect.
wedding, which happened just, about a week and a half ago. They came in, they were at the case. It's like, well, why not? I mean,
I'm
I don't have
here.
to schedule something out. I'm capable of doing it. So no reason to send them away just to bring them back when they're already here.
Oh, and that's always our policy. I mean, we don't turn customers away. I mean, we can always use more business. We are always eager to meet, somebody who's planning a new event or has another reason to, have a specialty dessert. So if they come in, I mean, like our antennas go up and say, hey, absolutely, we're happy to sit down right now. So yeah, Wednesday can take us by surprise, and we'll close the doors at 2. And let's put this on the record right now. We're thrilled to sell out, but at 2 o'clock we are like, oh man,
I hate to see the people come to the door and we're like,
don't make eye
closed.
contact.
Yeah.
You're like, oh dear.
You stay behind the kitchen
Yeah.
wall a little bit longer.
Now my sister, which is so funny, because I always say, like, I'm the one who has children. You would think I'd have like the softer spot for the kids who come up to the door. I'm always like, oh my God, let's get out of here. I don't want to disappoint anyone. Kim's like, I've got some Whoppers in the back from garnishes from chocolate malt cupcake. Maybe I'll give us some Whoppers or chocolate chips or something. I'm like, you got to wrap it up. I'm like, you got to get out of here.
So I didn't want to put you on the spot, but yes, I realized that it's very popular the second that you open. And these days, you said there's the jelly bean crash and the Halloween.
Totally.
What's happening these days? Patriotic, birthday, what's going on? What's the trend in July?
For purchasing, you mean?
Yeah, what folks are coming in for, the most popular.
Tons
Well,
of
like
weddings,
I said,
yeah.
today was one of those a little bit slower day. I think it's vacations. And you kind of noticed that. The phone rang all day, but it was for
Yeah,
orders
events.
for like next week, small pickups for today. So we kind of know what's going on in town. We'll be very, very busy around, like the next holiday will be Labor Day.
Right.
So with the taste, though, we don't participate in the taste on the green, but the store will be very busy all weekend.
Oh, definitely.
So it'll be really nice. So we know, and that brings in so many people from other cities that it's really nice. And it'll still be to this day, people will come in and they'll be like, I didn't know you were here. I've never heard of a cupcake shop. And sometimes it's almost like you hold yourself back from laughing, like, really? Because they have become
It's
so popular.
refreshing, though,
But then
too.
it'll be like, oh no, you've got to try it. It's just a lot of fun, even if it's just one, And sometimes just the selecting process takes you longer. So then you end up getting 2 or 3 or 4 packs out of them. Yeah.
Do you mentioned other cities, do folks ever come down from Chagrin Falls? You're like, that store's already out. Are you still open? Or I didn't know there was
Sometimes.
one here. I thought
Oh,
there was
yeah.
one in
We'll
Chagrin Falls.
communicate between, like, if a customer stops in and they're like, oh, I was dying for salted watermelon, which is a really popular summer flavor for us. And if they're like, just hanging out, I've called, like if I'm in Chagrin, I'll call somebody in Hudson and say, do you have any salted watermelon left? And there are definitely times people will come get it. Go on.
Well, probably about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, right around heavy graduation party time, I actually had her daughter in the store with me on a Thursday, and a corporate client of ours called and said,
That's right.
we ordered a dozen cupcakes on Tuesday, and now he wants 100 cupcakes for a graduation party. So I'm like, sure, when? He's like, for tonight. So I said, okay, listen, let me tell you what we have in the case. I said, and I'm going to call my Chagrin Falls store, and we'll kind of go back and forth. I said, so you may not be able to get all the flavors that, all the right amounts here, but I'm sure Chagrin is going to be able to do it. So that they worked out. We
No,
took
hold
everything.
on. The phone call
Maybe
went,
didn't quite-
Sarah, what do you have left?
I was on my
taking it
cell
all.
phone, that's right. And
I'm
then-
taking it all. And I said, well, I've got like 6 people in front of me. She's like, okay, call me as soon as they're gone.
So we packed up everything that we needed,
Yeah.
and then her daughter and I trucked on down to Chagrin Falls and got
Oh, yeah.
her portion of cupcakes, and then we delivered them to the party.
Well, that worked out.
And
yeah.
that, that's another example of like a midweek sellout you're not prepared for. What about who's, and I'm not a country artist person, who was the,
Dirk Bentley.
no, it was the, Brett, yes, thank you, Angela. Yes, okay. So
I'm not a country person.
when he was in town, they had and actually it was his last time in town. Not that we did the order at Blossom for the recent trip, but the last time he had been in town, they ordered like four dozen or something cupcakes, and then when he got in, they had ordered what, 400 or something?
Right, for like the crew, and he was going to do a special party. So I mean, she was like, "Can you turn this around?" I'm like, "We can do, we'll
and
do what
you don't say no to Brad Paisley, obviously. So
we don't really like to say no.
Never.
Makes sense.
No matter how well things are going, you don't want to say no, and it's one of those that's a good example of something that happens in the summer. Like if you're having a slower, July, it's hot. It's not ice cream, people trickle in a little bit, slower. You're like, absolutely, we're gonna figure out a way to fulfill this order for sure. But to also follow up with, to answer again, another big thing happening in weekends is weddings for sure. Right. So we're prepping Friday, Saturday, Sunday weddings all the time.
Now, I always picture the multi-tiered with cupcakes on it, but what are some of the more odd requests you've gotten? Not for weddings, for anything, exploding centers, what? What do people ask for that you're like,
pretty much when it comes to us, I would say we're really driven by flavors. Okay. So when people call us and they want us to put together a wedding tower for them, excuse me, we've done bacon cupcakes to a classic vanilla. On a tower. So, we work so closely with our clients, myself and Sarah. I mean, really, we're the two people who work directly with them. So we always try to make, the best recommendations and try to accommodate as much as we can. But we did start to do multi-tiered cakes, buttercream style classic cakes, which are nice. So not just for weddings, but just for any event, birthdays, christenings, baptismals,
And people do, no matter how much you offer, people do always try to change it a little bit. We finally bring on cakes, and then they'll say, "Oh, could we cut it open and have M&Ms spill out?"
Oh, that's right.
So
we did that for a reveal.
Baby
reveal,
and it was a boy-girl twins, and it was blue and pink M&Ms. So we're like, okay, and that's when we're kind of like taking a picture. We're texting Sean and saying, "Will you do it?" And he's like, "Sure." And you're thinking, how many M&Ms do you need at the top tier of that cake to actually cut it open and have it spill out, and not just cut it open and have them sitting there,
And we never FaceTime Sean when we sent him his request, because we really don't want to see the look. We just figure enough of the emojis and all the exclamation points. We're like, so we weren't really asking.
Yeah,
we were just kind of giving you a heads up.
Pretend.
Just so you know, you're going to have to do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
and
a heads
then
up.
we magically disappear from our phones when he calls right back. It's so weird.
That's pretty smart. Works out good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To date, though, the very most unique request I've ever gotten at the cupcake shop was somebody came in on a Saturday afternoon. I always, I don't take anything for granted, but I do think, that, and I credit Kim and Sean with choosing the name, our name is pretty straightforward. We are a cupcake shop. Our name is Main Street Cupcakes. We're located on Main Street. I mean, I feel like it's as clear cut as you can come in this industry. And she came and she's like, "I would just love some chicken salad. Do you have some chicken salad?" And I was like, "Oh, ha ha, you're hilarious." She's like, "Are you out? Do you not have chicken salad?" I was like, "No,
Are you a cafe?
I don't have chicken salad."
I'm sorry. She's like, cafe sandwiches.
She's like, "It would be so nice if you had chicken salad." I'm like, "It would be really nice."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. Do you think it's the deli counter that threw
I
her off?
have no idea.
I
but
think
she was dead
in that mindset of like bakeries and cafes.
Yeah.
So.
But on a Saturday when you were like bustling people eating cupcakes with boxes, and you think, I literally can't even make fun of you right now because you are just not present at the moment.
No, not for chicken salad. Have you ever made a chicken salad cupcake?
No.
We've had fun, but no chicken.
No,
Kimmy always puts it well. She says we like to keep it edible. We'll get savory and we'll get fun, but in general we like to keep it edible.
Somebody's not going to order a dozen, turkey and mashed potato cupcakes.
That's true.
They're just not going to. They may try one, split it, and then be like turn their face on it, but they're really not going to.
Is there a flavor one of you thought this is going to be gangbusters, and that's what ended up happening? And you're like, I still like it, but
that has flavors that have not been a success was poppy seed. Like we did like a lemon, and then we did a poppy seed,
That's true.
and it just did not go over. And then we did a peaches and cream in the beginning, and we're like, oh, this is going to be great.
Love
Nobody
peaches and cream.
wanted it. We changed it a little bit and made it a Bellini, and I'll tell you, everybody loves it.
It's just the rebranding. It's about, and I think you probably can appreciate this in the marketing and PR world. That's my only example is peaches and cream. And I mean, like, Sean is giggling, I think, because it's practically the exact same recipe of, as what peaches and cream was. And we like slapped a different name on it and called it Peach Bellini. And it's like the #1 selling wedding cupcake that we put on a tower. So
seems like, well, now there was one, you mentioned Bellini. There was one, was it pina colada?
It was Miami Vice, you're thinking, right? Strawberry margarita cake, pina colada buttercream?
Maybe. And it ended up, you're not supposed to tell people the recipes. No. It ended up being on a website on the other side of the planet. Mojito.
Mojito.
Okay, so does everyone know this story? Who doesn't know this story?
We can give you the quick 2-minute rundown.
Don't have to be quick. Just let's start with, you got calls from the FBI.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, long story short, it's just like a Thursday morning. We, at this point, we have a West Side location. I'm in Rocky River. Kim and Sean are at other locations as well, and we start getting a lot of text messages. It's early morning. Hey, we saw your cupcake on the Huffington Post. Hey, we saw your cupcake on, the AOL News when that was still going on. And I was like, oh yeah, I know. They were all referencing a story of a review Ellen DeGeneres had done on a cupcake. And she had titled the review, Mama Never Made Me Mojito Cupcakes Before. And I was like, this article was done in like 2008.
No, I think it was like right after we had opened.
It was. So we're like, oh, this is old news. Thanks, that sounds great, but this is old news. But then, like 5, 6, 7 texts, we're thinking, what is going on? And it just turns out we made national news because MI6 from, Great Britain, which is sort of
like their CIA.
Like their CIA, they halted a terrorist event. Basically, there was an underground newspaper out, with little, out on, in I guess the Middle East, that they just it was called Enlighten or Envision or something. The underground newspaper.
I don't subscribe anymore.
Yeah, I know, right? It was called Enlight or something. It was an underground Al Qaeda newspaper. And they were about to go to publication that morning with an article titled How to Make a Bomb in Your Mom's Kitchen. And it was a recipe of how to make a bomb in your mom's kitchen. And I mean, it was a big deal. I mean, no one wants this article to go to publication. So this person in MI6, we still don't know how this happened, decided to replace that article with a random bit of news so that when these little wannabe bomb makers opened it, they wouldn't get a recipe to how to make a bomb in their mom's kitchen. They would get a recipe to how to make a mojito cupcake from a little company in Main Street, Ohio.
It got linked to us.
It got linked to us.
Right.
It is just so bizarre. So like this person at MI6, just decides to pick this random bit of news, but of course it wasn't random to us.
No.
It was
we were getting
serious.
the calls, Good Morning America,
Good Morning
CNN.
America.
I mean, it was insane.
The British
and
Telegraph.
We were trying to digest it
We
because
couldn't
we
figure it
wanted
out.
to diffuse the
Yeah, we didn't
situation.
want it.
We didn't have any part of this. And then all the press that had contacted us, they were like, no, this doesn't put you in a bad light. We're just trying to figure out the link, but all we kept thinking was, oh my God, this is terrible. This could be horrible.
Remember, it's post 9/11 at this point. It is very serious. So, from a PR stance, we came up with our stance. Our official answer was there is nothing funny about terrorism, know. But the only thing we did get in there at the very end when. Kim and I were interviewed by Robin Roberts on Good Morning America was we have nothing to do with making bombs, but the mojito cupcake is the bomb.
Pretty good.
You had to get some laugh out of it.
We had to, but it was like, trust me, we laugh about it now, but that was an extremely stressful time. You support a lot of people and, families. I think it was probably the time when we had our biggest staff. We were on big projects. Right. And, that is frightening and terrifying because people could run it anyway. And I specifically remember Robin Roberts saying, come on, are you sure there's nothing behind the scenes going on? Come on. She was trying to, be funny, but we were, dead serious. And, if
And
you
it
go,
didn't just end after one day.
It took a while.
It was a couple weeks where it's like, like anything, it loses its fizzle.
People would,
But you're like, okay, because then like even all the local papers had
Right.
it. So when we thought it had died down, the
all
Hub
that.
had it, and then it was, something else. So we were like, please
We're
stop
like,
the
please don't
press.
talk about mojito again.
Right.
And
Well, I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now it's
We're
the
over,
best
we've
story
recovered.
ever.
Yeah, we're
Good.
fine. Yeah.
Oh no, it's the greatest story ever. And again, like if you Google British Telegraph, the Hindu News, tons of newspapers picked it up. But and I swear to you, and we're sisters and we're extremely close. We're just like we could sing a song about twins, like we're that close. I texted her that night and I said, promise me there's nothing I don't know. Because the FBI had called us and
Secret Service.
and my husband had been out of town on a trip and I was home alone and I was like, just tell me right now. That I'm behind you. We're
I
as
don't know
close
why
as
she
can
thought
be.
I would be.
Because, I knew it wasn't me.
Right.
And I remember thinking, okay, this is just one of those moments, like, just be honest. and like, we always, like, it was just, they had pushed us that far, and it was like 1 a.m. I was like, just tell me now, just like, be honest. And so we have cleared the air. We were no part of
Yes,
this, just this random article got out there. So again, it's a laugh 5 years later, but at the time we were like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
Wow. And Sean, they didn't find us out. That was great. So,
Yeah, exactly,
I'm
right?
But it was pretty patriotic that you guys stopped this thing.
Yeah, right.
And-
They did kind of go that. They
Yeah,
spelled it
seems
that
like.
way.
And
Yeah.
also, it was just to clarify, it wasn't the recipe because those are top
It was
secrets.
the story.
Right.
No, it was just the story. Like
Yeah.
it was Ellen DeGeneres' review. It was how she had said about mojito cupcakes, a rum cake, lime and mint, and it wasn't the after school cupcake you were used to getting when you were. It was an article that was
Right,
put
right.
in.
And we were also part of those unique cupcake flavors.
Right.
So when we came out and we opened with 15 flavors, very common ones.
Yeah.
But then we started to add the more unique ones. That's when they started to, people started to
exciting.
talk more about it. Then press picked it up. So at the time, nobody made a mojito cupcake.
Oh no.
And that I think was just how it kind of like spurred the attention that we got from it.
Definitely.
And do you find that to come up with new flavors, is it a lot of times just, this is good, Sean, cupcakeify this?
Yeah.
I mean, is
We're
that-
working on the August flavor of the month as we speak.
Yeah.
I mean, and I can't even make eye contact with him because like you don't get it. Like we all really do our own jobs. Like, I mean, we would not be in the position we are right now if Kim and I were in charge of that kitchen. and so, but the other day we were talking about the August flavor of the month, and that flavor of the month means it's a flavor we're going to run every day all month long in addition to our standards: classic chocolate, classic vanilla, wedding day white, and red velvet. And we also always run whatever flavor we've designed. And we had a very successful cupcake last August called salty watermelon, just kind of blew up. Everyone loved it. And I said, well, what if
All
we
her
do
references to the
Stop that.
blew up? I know. It's like I can't stop.
We can edit this, right?
And I said to Kim just the other day, I was like, no. I said, I found these really cute straws at Target. Maybe we should do something with the straw in it again and make it like another margarita. I'm like, what about a watermelon margarita cupcake with a straw? And she's like, oh, sure, I'll have Sean do it. And then, of course, we don't even like make any other suggestions. We're like, Sean, watermelon cupcake, watermelon margarita.
There you go.
Give us a couple options. But it's a great relationship. But it is. That's, sometimes it does just happen like that. We have a good
Absolutely.
idea, and you have people who are way better than you who can make it happen.
Seems like. And you're all over. Just now you were, I think you were tweeting a photo or something.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
you've won awards for being socially connected, right? At the
thanks
shop?
to her, yes.
Well, I mean, we're just totally devoted to it. I always describe social media as, is there a day where you wouldn't talk to your husband, your family, your friends? I mean, is there a day that goes by you don't talk to somebody? Why would we expect a day should go by where we don't interact with our customers? Mm-hmm. And so we've started, but you've put your elbow grease in. This is 9 years coming. We have 15,000 Facebook followers, but it's taken 9 years to get there. And we're just active. It just works. The platform works for us. And we contribute a huge amount of our success and our visibility to our PR and our social media. We just are really devoted to it. It's become part of what we do every day. So when you say we're opening up, we're doing little videos, we're doing flavors, and we've seen people glean that off our Facebook page and our website, and healthy competition is great, but we definitely see that. We're like, when people are posting other companies are posting their flavors all the time, we're like, well, we definitely make that a practice every day.
Sure. And do you find before you started the shop, Twitter was hardly anything, if at all. Facebook was very small. What did you used to do? How much easier is it now with your phone?
I can't even go back and think. Everything was print.
And
then that verbal, print,
Yeah.
but then also came with a huge expense.
Oh, totally.
So, print ads, that's just, even now for us, before we enter in any sort of agreement or decide anything that's going to go to print, we talk about it intensely.
Yeah, it's a big decision if we go to print, because we know digital is just
but with digital now, it's like, I can't even imagine it. When we are approached on something for print, we're like, oh, I don't know, because how many times do you pick up your phone or you're on your computer?
That instant gratification is what works for us, especially in a high-paced field that we're in. Yeah. Those flavors that come out in the morning, they're gone by, 10, 11, 12 o'clock during the day. Yes, but before, so there was 2007, I think, part of 2008, we hadn't gotten on Facebook yet, and personally, and we would say the flavors every single day, and people would call, and they still do.
And
call.
I didn't have, if people who have been into our shop know, we have the little flags now.
Oh yeah.
But when we first opened, we did not label them.
No.
So if we had a line of 5 people and everybody was very close and you could hear the flavors, we would repeat it to every single person. So a case that may have 15 to 20 flavors, we would repeat them all. So I would tell you, but maybe you thought you heard everything. Would you tell me one more time?
Oh,
and we
rattle
would.
them off.
Finally, I find a company that sells these little flags. Because I knew we changed them so often that we couldn't have something permanent.
Right.
That it was the same flavors. So thankful for the flag, came out, and we were able to post the flavors every day.
And so now you've got things gelling, you've got a social media machine going, the 2 stores. What's next?
That's a good question. I feel like we're in a position now where we feel a little seasoned, and we're totally not old enough to be seasoned here, but we talk about it all the time, and we revisit our plans all the time so that we feel like we're fresh and moving forward and sort of headed north. And it's kind of an exciting time, because a lot of things we've tabled through the years, we feel like we can tap into now. And, it's for several reasons. You see business go up, business go down, you see things stay, kind of stay the course, and you think, when can we fit all these ideas in? And so we sort of just went for it. We added cakes to our logo recently, and it's all customer driven. It's, you did cupcakes for my wedding, but I would just love to do that flavor, but maybe in a cake for my daughter's first birthday or for our baptism. So of course, we have the product, we can make it. We started doing cakes. It was all customer driven. Cookies, Sean is a baker for a reason. He has such a sweet tooth. He would make homemade chocolate chip cookies with buttercream in them. Or crepes. We've been kind of going crazy with crepe flavors, and we've got all these ideas, like, what about, our cupcakes, we sell out throughout the day, but what about some date nights where we would do crepes, both sweet and savory, maybe crepe nights out, and how fun that would be. It'd be such a great press thing. Come on, we'll do crepe night. We have all the stuff in our kitchen. It's just a matter of finding the time to get going with it. And we're in this industry for a reason. We love dessert, and we go to New York City. It's sort of there was always business. Kimi and I would have a lot of blitzes and trade shows and stuff in the fall, and we would still go to bakeries and Bryant Park, and the 3 of us, with my children of course too, we went to Bryant Park in the fall, and we were at a creperie, and then we got home and we were making tons of crepes, which really means we had ideas and Sean was making us tons of crepes. And, and we're like...
We went through a lot of Nutella.
Yeah, a ton of Nutella. And then, and then all of a sudden on a Saturday afternoon, a customer's like, man, I would just love a crepe. And we're like, we have everything. We could make her a crepe. Oh. So it's kind of nice to see that, that we feel confident enough to start adding a couple more things to our company, and people will accept it because we have long-term customers who like what we're doing.
We've established ourselves.
We've established ourselves.
You know, we're still true to
Knock
what
on
we
wood,
do,
but yeah.
but we can now incorporate that.
It just feels more comfortable, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To start adding things in, and it's all customer demand, and so we're just kind of going for it.
Oh, very good. And you lived in Hudson for about
2
a
years.
year? 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah.
And you're moving here soon? We don't know.
Eventually,
Maybe?
I
We'll
mean,
see.
yeah, find me a nice house. Anyone have
Okay.
some suggestions? You know?
I'm sure somebody will come up with something.
Yeah.
And outside of the shop, I mean, how much time do you have to do other things, and what are those other things?
We've worked really hard to carve out some free time. It's
Quality
been
of life is very
Yeah,
important for
very
us, and that was
important to
one of
us.
the reasons why we made the transition from corporate to sugar,
Perfect.
basically. We wanted that time, and there has been many times
yeah.
where we haven't had any of that,
Right.
where we have worked, you know, fast and furious, and it's been insane, wonderful, but insane. And now, like Sarah said, we're at that time where we're like, okay, we need to enjoy this.
It's really
And
important.
you see us at the pool.
Right.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
where we're at the
True.
pool, and
No judgment.
No, that's
we eat out a lot.
Yeah, we
Yes.
met Kabir in the water at
Literally.
the neighborhood pool.
Literally, yes.
You know, it's really important, and I also think, you know, we're all married, we have families, and I bring my children to work. It is a very overused word, but it's a total blessing that we have this company and I can have the kids with me all the time. My sister is extremely...
I split the responsibility with her and have
She
her
does.
daughter.
She shares the parenting responsibility of my children. It's immense, you know, with the company. And, but it's really important. Actually, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've turned to my sister and said, "How's Sean doing? I know he's had a, you know, bake more. We lost a baker, you know, in the winter, and you know, Sean stepped in more." And I said, "You know, he's okay, right? You know, Sean's a big mountain biker. My husband's a big mountain biker. You know, they ride their bikes around town. I'm like, do you guys go ride your bike this weekend? You know, we sort of touch base that we're still doing things.
Right.
Today I was going to work in Hudson, but something came up, and Kim's like, you know what? Just take the day. You need the day."
Right.
And of course it was, you know, I was cutting it close getting here because you fill it up so
Right.
fast. But it, you know, just like anything, you find the balance, you're juggling, but we really, in the past couple years, I think, especially as leases have kind of gone up at a couple of our other locations and we've decided to wait to find a new store or pause on it, we've realized that quality of life is just, I mean, we're selling cupcakes, we enjoy our job so much, we need to make sure we find time for other things too.
And prior to living in Hudson, where did you live?
Macedonia.
Okay, so why, you mentioned the other stores that sometimes the leases go up.
Yeah.
What has kept you, I realize it's the first store, but what has kept you focused on Hudson and then, you know, adding Chagrin or adding Rocky
We
River?
just love the community.
Yeah,
Literally,
it fits our brand
when
too.
we
Perfect.
found that location, I mean, that's what it was. At that time, we didn't even think about multiple locations.
No way.
Sean would always say, you know, like 6 months in a year, and he'd be like, we got to do this, we got to do that. And I'd be like, oh, you know, I love this like little blue house here. I just love it.
It's what
You know,
we've based everything off of.
And we have.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether stores open or they close or we add new ones, people always say, like, this is our flagship.
Oh, it always will
You know,
be, yeah.
we lived in Macedonia for 12 years, and from the time we opened the door, I said, we really want to move to Hudson. Like, we were down here all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
restaurants and the stores and everything. So it just took the time to find the right house, but I mean, I just love that blue building. I love everything about it.
And actually, we really, we were very fervent about keeping that as our brand. If you notice, like our Facebook header will change on top, but that picture, I never changed that photo. I want you to, like, when you picture the Cupcake Shop, no matter where you are, if you're in Chagrin or Rocky River or Medina or here or buying online, I want you to picture that you're buying it from that little blue house in Hudson.
Right.
And it's also, there's been a lot of this sort of like sweat equity that has gone to this little blue house. What has been pushed out of that building is crazy. I mean, we have had semis from California come pick up product from us out of that on Owen Brown. I mean, that is not a dock.
Poor
We're not hiding a
residents of
dock.
Owen Brown
Yeah,
sometimes.
those poor, they have had to come down Route 91, which is no easy feat, you know. And and it's just like, you know, the community, it represents, you know, we always describe it as Pleasantville, and Kim waited a long time to find the right house. You know, I just assume my children are going to be educated in Hudson. I'm like, we'll find the house. Hadley doesn't start kindergarten for another 2 years. We just have to get there sometime before then, you know. Who has time to pack up, by the way, and move?
Yeah, exactly.
And it just really, we've built our entire brand around this community and the blue building at the end of Main Street, the most north business on historic Main Street. And it's been organic, too. It wasn't forced. It just naturally formed.
Yeah, always.
Seems like.
And it's a destination, too, we always say. Hudson's a destination.
But so many of our customers that have young families where we have seen them come in where they're just about to have their first or second child.
Definitely.
And now we're doing, 7th birthdays. And you're like, we've done christenings, we've done, it's crazy. So that's another thing, it's just the history there. It's like, amongst all the locations, it's like it's Main Street and Owen Brown.
It's the place.
Yeah.
And I have one last question that I think actually is for Sean. Are you up for answering questions? So they mentioned sort of the Southern tradition in your family, and maybe that's one of the things that's contributed to the unique flavor. Maybe just talk about your background and how you synthesize these recipes that seem to be pretty different from any other cupcake place.
My background's been hotels and restaurants since I was 14. So I've always been in the kitchen. Before that, I was in my grandmother's kitchen, and she was a good old country girl from Kentucky, West Virginia area. She grew up, and her mother was a cook for the railroad. So everybody's kind of been into food. And,
I pictured her as Mrs. Butterworth for so many years.
my grandma was 5'1".
You can't even, you don't even get it. I was actually stunned when I met her and said, it's not how I pictured her. I don't get this.
Just ruined her whole image.
It ruined it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, but then the flavors just kind of came. It's, Kimmy started off, we need to push this one. And she's always the great motivator behind me. Because I'm always kind of like, I don't know if that one's going to work so much.
Tell them your favorite flavor.
Half-baked.
No, classic vanilla, I thought.
I've been liking the cookie dough.
Okay, if you look at any article. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. He's such a classic guy, and so all the crazy flavors, Kimmy and I, we say, we have to push on.
Yeah, but I don't know. So then I'll mess around a little bit, and we'll get it right. But then it just kind of works out. I think more of us together. Being again her motivating, her giving the push, and me trying to be a little resilient for some things to try to keep them we don't really want to go that way with that one. But then once we get the ideas, it's then I'll start to fine tune it and kind of work it in and say, well, that didn't work the way you said it, but if we do it this way, it'll be fine.
And Sarah's very particular about certain things. And so if
picky.
she gives me a description of something, it has to be just like that. If I think there's a little tweak, oh no. It's I almost have to hold back, and I find myself almost lying to her a little bit,
she does.
Oh, we didn't do it yet. And
Or
I'll be staring right at it because I'll be I know he did it a little bit of a different color or a different garnish. So, we got to, I have to build up to tell her.
She had to look at it because there's a whole filtering process when it gets to Sean. And last week we were doing something for a cake special. We have a birthday cake special going on right now. A double stack cake serves 50 people for $100. And, it's 2-stack cake. That's a great cake. We're really excited to get that out into the community more. We're saying it's $100 flat. You can pick from 5 flavors. And I have pushed and described this cake distinctly to what I thought would be right. And I told her, I said, you're going to tell him, right? You're going to tell him, right? He's going to do the cake, right? And so I keep coming every day. I'm like, did he do the cake? Did he do my cake? And she's like, he did the cake. And I said, well, where is it? And I said, it's not that cake right there, because that's not what I asked for. So it's just funny how it is. And Sean is so self-taught, and it came naturally to him. I have to respect that too, that Sean's the one playing with all those ingredients, and he's the hand on the pastry bag designing it.
And a lot of times it comes down to that too, is that your idea is great and the concepts are great. It's but when you get it into a production schedule, it's
right.
Okay, I need to make maybe 250 of these this night. You know, if I got to go through and if it takes me 10 minutes to decorate one cupcake and I got to do 250 of them, it's going to be a really long night.
He's referring to the Cambria Sweets order that I thought sounded great to put Cambria Sweets on every cupcake for this company.
Maybe not. Yeah. Well, we're glad you're here in Hudson, the three of you, doing what you do. We're going to open up to questions from the audience. Does anyone in the audience have any questions for any of our guests?
We usually cover a lot.
Yeah,
It's okay. Yeah.
You talked about other stores. How many stores do you have?
We have two, the Hudson and Chagrin Falls store.
Okay, because you were mentioning other cities. Had you had them in other places before?
We did. So we had an adorable, like sort of annex in Medina. It was a 2-year lease though. And when it was time to renew, there was massive construction on the Medina Square, which we have found out is still continuing. So it was a good decision. And then we also had Rocky River for 5 years, which we love Rocky River. We would go back in a heartbeat. I don't want to let down any of our West Side customers. We love them. We do like free delivery Fridays sometimes for them. But, you know, the lease was up. The space really needed a lot of work. So we needed to find another location. But you know how it goes. That was in December. I mean, we're already in July and time flies. So that sort of West Side downtown is still very, very close where we'll have something in the works soon. But yeah, so that was up in December. Mm-hmm. Oh, do you have a question back there? The little one with the hair bow?
Have you ever made like any first communion cupcakes for anyone?
Definitely, all the time.
All the time.
Kim had said earlier, we do a really pretty like cake made of like a cross made of cupcakes. And then we could put your name on it, or you pull it apart. That would be nice. We would love to do a first communion. Oh my, that would be special. Did you have a question too, sweetie?
What did you study in college?
I studied marketing and PR and communications, and I think Kim was business.
Accounting and business, yeah.
And like we said, Sean was self-taught. And I think it also goes to show that we, you know, just as long as you have a passion, even though you might have like a finance background, if you have a passion for something, you can go for, you know, whatever career path you want. What do you think?
There's an apartment above your store on Main Street. Have you ever thought of living up there?
We have.
Totally thought.
For us, every time it comes available, someone else snatches it up. 'Cause I'm like, really, you know, we feel like we live and work at the same place most of the time, so let's not literally make it that way.
But it's true, yeah. And
it's really adorable, too.
It is adorable.
Oh, that's right. You went up. That's right.
It's adorable.
I remember.
And John, the law student who lived there when we first opened, I will still see him. I live in the Fairlawn area, and he lives out there somewhere, and I'll run into him at Starbucks or something, and he always says, I love to tell people I lived above the cupcake shop when it first opened.
Wow, that's great. What's in the basement, by the way? The like you go around back lower
just
level?
storage, just like a warehouse storage.
Well, we had like huge chest freezers too down there for when we ship nationwide.
Now, does anyone? I'll ask a trivia question of the audience. I don't have my prizes this month, but does anyone remember what used to be down there before the cupcake shop?
I do.
You do?
I know what was down there. I know, yeah.
Okay. Anybody know?
What was the business that was in our basement?
If you went around back, one person.
What?
The printer?
Nope.
She knows it.
You heard it. I heard it.
Baseball card store, Darby's Dugout.
Right, Darby's Dugout.
So.
Really?
Yeah, gotta help yourself. Are there other questions from the? Yes.
I know I bought your cupcakes at Nordstrom's before, in Playhouse Square. Do you still?
We still service Playhouse Square. Nordstrom kind of pulled back, did some in-house product, and also some dairy-free and vegan
they went
options.
big vegan.
Yeah,
definitely.
That we don't take care of. But Playhouse Square, we just delivered today for Cinderella.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty good. Yeah. Yes.
So you talked about your brand, the Blue House. Would you buy it if it were available? Are you still leasing?
That's a good question.
We have been approached a couple times when it did go up, and it was just a little high.
and the thing is that I don't think anyone really wants to give up, real estate on Main Street. But I mean, it's in the back of our minds as an option. Yeah. We certainly aren't going anywhere, so we love it.
There was one over
Laura, or did you have a question?
Laura, Angela?
Yes. Go ahead.
Wasn't it USA Today, were you on a list of like the 10 best cupcakes in America? Okay, so that was, if I remember correctly, because I was so amazed by that and how they found you. Do you know how that happened? Like, how did they find you? Or was that a PR thing from you, or was it like...
No, it wasn't.
USA Today was not a PR thing for us. USA Today was, yeah, I think it was like, they found us just because at the time, though, think about it, 2007, the only like sort of shows in town were Sprinkles, and then Georgetown Cupcake opened actually right after we opened.
Right.
So those big markets had cupcake shops, and I think that USA Today and all those like AOL and all them who did those early on articles with us, they were hungry for noticing this trend that was just sort of emerging. And we actually were the first cupcake only shop in Ohio, too. So now, but right after 2007, you know, when the recession, you know, during the recession and whatnot, it started to emerge slowly, but we definitely had that foot in the door first. But then further on, yeah, PR has been massive for us. We do send out press releases.
When they had contacted us, I really thought it was kind of like a joke, like, oh, you're joking, because, and they also, when they asked some questions, they said you may or may not be included. So, you know, basically you're just going to have to wait and see. And when it came out, we didn't even know that we made it. It was customers that came in that were like, you're in the USA Today, and we're like, oh my God, so I'm calling her.
Oh, it was Kara's in San Francisco.
Calling Sean, and people were bringing it to us, and then we were just getting a ton of calls like, okay, I'm gonna get this. You know, but
USA Today we have.
Oh, I still have them. Oh yes, tons. Yes. Yeah.
That was the beginning for sure.
Which I think really
that launched a lot of the press.
So much, and then we got so much press after that.
Forbes came after that too. That was really special too.
There was one that had a specific flavor, I think, right after the Ellen article, like 09. Which one am I thinking of? They had a 10 best specific cupcakes, not just shops, but specific. Do you know this? It's way on down on your website if people go to the press section. But there was a specific flavor that they said there's 10 great flavors cupcakes in the U.S. and that's one of them.
No,
it wasn't half baked. It was.
You really want that one?
No.
That's in the shop. That's all there's gonna be tomorrow.
No, but it did. USA Today launched a lot of the press. Thanks for bringing that up, Angela. It was, it launched a lot because obviously that searched so well too. But yeah, that was totally organic.
Yeah. I saw another question here.
So when foods take off, like USA Today storage, how do you prepare for scaling up?
I mean,
is the capacity always there?
We grew as the capacity came. You know,
you have to stretch at the seams.
I mean, no, we did. That's how we would describe it. We bursted at the seams. There were nights. I mean, it was crazy. Yeah,
it was a 24/7 operation for us.
We grew, and that's actually still how we run our business. We're a small business. I mean, we are a family-operated small business. We are not Amazon. Those cupcakes, though they were shipped nationwide, though we were a vendor of Home Shopping Network, I mean, those cupcakes were shipped from our basement. Though it's a very professional process, it's gone through high quality control. You have no idea the nights that were spent learning the logistics on these things.
We know so much about corrugated boxes and styrofoam that we could just hold a class alone on that. But we were the ones who were taping the boxes and shrink wrapping the cupcakes. I mean, so.
And we were very cognizant of that.
Millions of cupcakes.
Well, not millions, but yeah, I mean, like, it's too hard to say. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of cupcakes. And I mean, but like, we have had massive, huge orders that seem incomprehensible. 40,000, I mean, and I mean, I'm not even kidding you. And again, you know, there's been so many years where I've been having a baby or whatnot. I mean, like, these 4 arms have lifted all of those boxes and shrink wrapped the boxes so that semis could come and pick them up. And it's like we grew as the company. We grew as our demand was there. It was supply and demand, and we're Kim's very, very fiscally responsible. We cannot overgrow. We want this to be long term. We're not going anywhere. I told Kimmy, this is my last job. I mean, like, seriously. And so, I mean, we scale, we burst at the seams at the times that happens. But I mean, it's also kind of like our thing too. We really, we live for that stuff.
Yeah, we live for the craziness.
We live for it.
And when it's not, you're kind of like, okay, what do I need to do to fill that? Because we love that.
Oh,
we love that rush.
Without a doubt. It's a great question. In the back, I saw go up first.
How did you, like you said, you could give a course on the boxes and things. How did you learn that through?
Research.
Oh, massive research.
Sean would be on the phone with every vendor that you could possibly imagine, but you also have to deal with the fact that you're a small company. So you may call a company that was to say to you, well, how big are you? Do you need £1 million? Like, oh, what are you talking about? Absolutely not.
You need less than a load of something.
Do you need a semi-load? Do you need this? Do you need that? So I mean, we just, on the phone, he got on the internet, called, typed everything, and then once you get it, then you see what works. And if that doesn't work, you pitch that and you go to something else.
And it's kind of rewarding too. I don't think it's a secret. We were a vendor of Williams-Sonoma for several years, and they're still a great contact of ours. And we had to learn how to go into the back end of their system and learn how to ship with them. I mean, so this is, our product is shipping with this worldwide company that's going from Hawaii to Dubai to Singapore to, and we had to learn how to work with them, and they had their own standards. Everyone has their own standards of how you have to work with them. And Kim would say, okay, we're going to have a call with somebody from the West Coast at 9 p.m. Well, what's 9 p.m. on the West, 9 p.m. on the West Coast is what time here, I'd say, okay, we're, again, pregnant. So I'm like, I'll set my alarm, I'm laying on the couch, and I specifically remember having a buttercream jar on my belly, and there was a circle on my belly from that. And I had a phone call with them, and we had to do a standards manual. Williams-Sonoma required a standards manual.
And no two large clients of ours ever did anything the same.
Never.
Not their packaging, so we had special packaging for HSN, special packaging for Williams-Sonoma. So our basement was, everything had its own area.
So you have to, and so when you ask about our education or what we studied in school, all of these things have led up to those moments that we feel, I strongly believe, and I don't know that I've articulated to you often enough, that I think one of the very best assets, very best abilities Main Street Cupcakes has is thinking on its toes and acting. That we feel like we've kind of put enough things out there that we can act on it.
Worked out pretty well. Well, we're glad you were able to do all this and come to Hudson and do it.
Thank you.
If there's more questions, they'll be here. You can bother them. You can come into the store anytime,
Come visit us. That would be the best
Tomorrow,
time.
10 a.m.
Please do.
Stop in. Thank you so much for being here, and Sean as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Kabir.
Thanks to the management and staff of the Hudson Library and Historical Society for their assistance in the production of this program and for providing the Kabir Bhatia series for the citizens of Hudson. For a DVD or Blu-ray copy of this or any HCTV program, contact Hudson Cable Television at 330-653-2500 or via email at hctv@hudson.oh.us.